They told her to stay in her lane. They told her to wait her turn. They told her to be patient while Izzy Dame paraded around with gold that should have been hers months ago. But on the 13th of January 2026, Tatum Paxel stopped listening to everyone else and started listening to the rage that's been building inside her since the day Izzy Dame stole her opportunity. And what we witnessed wasn't just a woman snapping, it was the complete and total psychological breakdown of someone who's been pushed too far, for too long, by a champion who doesn't deserve to hold that title for one more second. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this before you come at me in the comments. When was the last time you saw Izzy Dame defend that North American Championship against someone who actually deserved a shot? I'll wait, because while she's been too busy playing politician backstage, making alliances, and ducking real competition, Tatum Paxel has been tearing through the NXT women's division like a woman possessed. And the fact that Izzy has held that championship for this long while avoiding Tatum isn't just disrespectful, it's an insult to every single fan who's invested their time and emotion into watching NXT every single week. But here's where it gets interesting, and here's why what happened on the 13th of January is going to change everything we thought we knew about both of these women. Tatum didn't just confront Izzy Dame. She didn't just cut a fiery promo. She unleashed absolute chaos in a way that made everyone in that arena, and everyone watching at home, realize that we're not dealing with the same Tatum Paxel anymore. This isn't the woman who smiled through adversity. This isn't the woman who took her losses gracefully and promised to come back stronger. This is a woman who's been transformed by frustration, humiliation, and the unbearable weight of watching someone less talented walk around with the prize she's earned 10 times over. Quick question for the comment section: do you think Tatum was justified in her attack, or did she cross a line? Drop your thoughts below because I guarantee this debate is going to get heated. Now, let's talk about what actually went down, because the footage from this segment is going to be replayed for years to come. Izzy Dame came out to the ring with that North American Championship draped over her shoulder like she owns the place, cutting one of her typical arrogant promos about how she's the most dominant champion in NXT history. And look, I get it, confidence is part of being a champion. But there's a difference between confidence and delusion, and Izzy Dame crossed that line a long time ago. She stood there, listing off opponents she claims to have conquered, conveniently forgetting to mention that half of those victories came with interference, questionable officiating, or opponents who weren't even in her weight class. Then the music hit. Tatum Paxel's music. And the look on Izzy's face? Pure terror masked as annoyance. Because Izzy Dame knows, deep down in places she doesn't want to admit, that Tatum Paxel is the one woman on the NXT roster who has her number. She knows that if they are locked in a ring together in a fair fight, that championship is changing hands. So what does she do? She tries to talk her way out of it. She grabs the microphone and starts spewing the same tired excuses we've heard from insecure champions for decades. You haven't earned this, there's a line of contenders ahead of you, maybe if you win a few more matches. But Tatum wasn't there to talk. Tatum wasn't there to negotiate. Tatum was there to send a message that the entire locker room, the management, and every single person watching needed to hear. The time for talking is over. What happened next was pure, unfiltered violence. Tatum charged the ring like a missile, and before Izzy could even drop the microphone, she was eating a running knee strike that could have decapitated someone. The sound of that impact echoed through the arena, and you could see in Izzy's eyes that she knew she'd made a catastrophic mistake. She'd spent so much time avoiding Tatum that she forgot what Tatum is capable of when she's cornered. She forgot that Tatum didn't rise through the ranks by being passive. She forgot that behind that determined exterior is a fighter with nothing left to lose. Here's another question for you: who do you think hits harder, Tatum Paxel or Izzy Dame? And who do you think would win in a no disqualification match? Let me know below. Security tried to intervene. Officials rushed the ring. But here's the thing about rage that's been bottled up for months: it doesn't just disappear because someone in a striped shirt tells you to calm down. Tatum fought off security like they were made of paper. She tossed officials aside like they were inconvenient obstacles between her and her destiny. And every single time someone pulled her away from Izzy, she found a way back, throwing punches, landing kicks, screaming words that the broadcast couldn't even air because this wasn't a scripted segment anymore. This was real emotion pouring out of someone who's been disrespected for the last time. And Izzy, the so-called dominant champion, she spent the entire segment trying to escape, hiding behind officials, calling for security, doing everything except fighting back like a champion should. That North American Championship she carries around like a badge of honor. In that moment, it looked like a prop. It looked like something she's holding onto by luck and politics rather than skill and heart. Because a true champion doesn't run. A true champion doesn't hide. A true champion stands their ground and proves why they deserve to hold that title. The optics of this couldn't be worse for Izzy Dame. The fans in the arena were chanting Tatum's name. Social media exploded with people demanding that NXT management give Tatum the title shot she's earned. And even the commentary team, who usually try to stay neutral, couldn't hide their bias. They know what everyone watching knows: Tatum Paxel vs Izzy Dame for the North American Championship isn't just the match NXT needs, it's the match NXT deserves. But here's where the story gets even more complicated, and here's why this rivalry is about to reach levels we haven't seen in NXT in years. After the segment ended, after officials finally separated them and Tatum was escorted backstage, Izzy grabbed a microphone and did the absolute worst thing she could have done in that situation. She laughed. She stood in the middle of that ring, battered and bruised, and she laughed at Tatum Paxel. She called her desperate and unhinged. She said that Tatum's attack only proved that she's not championship material because champions have composure. Let that sink in for a moment. Izzy Dame, who spent the entire segment running away and hiding behind security, had the audacity to question Tatum's composure. The cognitive dissonance is absolutely staggering. And the worst part? Izzy actually believes what she's saying. She's so deep in her own delusion that she can't see what everyone else sees. She's a paper champion clinging to relevance, and Tatum Paxel is the storm that's about to wash her away. Question number 3. If you were NXT management, would you suspend Tatum for her actions, or would you give her an immediate title shot? Comment your answer and explain your reasoning. Now, here's what needs to happen next, and I genuinely believe NXT management would be making a massive mistake if they don't capitalize on this momentum. The build for this match has been organic, intense, and emotionally charged in a way that you can't script. These two women have legitimate animosity toward each other that translates through the screen. This isn't a rivalry that needs weeks of carefully crafted promos and video packages. The story is already there. The fans are already invested. The championship match that everyone wants to see is Tatum Paxel vs Izzy Dame, and it needs to happen at the next major NXT event. But more than that, this match needs stakes. This can't be a regular championship match with a standard 15-minute time limit and the possibility of countouts or disqualifications. After what we saw on the 13th of January, after Tatum literally fought through security to get her hands on Izzy, anything less than a no disqualification, no countout, falls count anywhere match would be a disservice to this rivalry. These women need to be locked in an environment where there are no excuses, no escape routes, and no one to hide behind. Just two competitors, one championship, and a fight that will determine who actually deserves to call themselves the North American champion. And when that match happens, not if, but when, I genuinely believe we're going to witness a star-making performance from Tatum Paxel. She's been ready for this moment. She's paid her dues. She's improved in every aspect of her game. And most importantly, she has that fire that separates good wrestlers from great champions. Izzy Dame has talent, nobody's denying that, but talent without heart is just potential that's never fully realized. And in that ring, when it matters most, heart is what determines who walks out with the gold. The NXT women's division is about to enter a new era, and whether Izzy Dame likes it or not, whether she's ready or not, Tatum Paxel is about to kick down the door and take what's rightfully hers. The 13th of January 2026 wasn't just another episode of NXT, it was the moment everything changed. It was the moment a challenger became inevitable. It was the moment a champion's facade began to crumble. And it was the moment we all realized that we're about to witness something special. Final question: who do you think should hold the North American Championship, Tatum Paxel or Izzy Dame? And what stipulation should their championship match have? Drop your detailed answers in the comments because I'm reading every single one. The countdown to their inevitable collision has begun, and I, for one, cannot wait to see how this story unfolds.